Welcome back to Berlin, Germany, home of the LEC. The final weeks of the summer split are a battle on two fronts as we approach the epic finale of the race for playoffs and the battle for Athens. SK Gaming are still in the run for 6th place, while Splyce look to keep their solid form heading into playoffs. Hello, everybody, and welcome. I am Quickshot, joined today by Vedius and Frosk. And we're going to get a little bit more clarity in the battle for the bye and who's going to make 6th.
Yes, we certainly are. It's heating up here in the LEC. We have a lot of action, fighting at the top, fighting in the middle. Schalke sitting comfortably, not really fighting with anyone.
Well, we'll have to see how they do. Of course, we do have 4 teams securing their spots in playoffs. Schalke, as has already been mentioned, they destroyed Misfits Gaming yesterday. And this is a team that has had a turnaround from spring to summer. The arrival of Trick and his performance on Proto Belt Sejuani yesterday, earning player of the game. Look, it was just a fantastic game from Schalke for us.
And the thing is it feels like Schalke really have kind of slipped underneath the radar. With all this conversation about Fnatic versus Splyce and will Origin make playoffs or not, Schalke just cruise control into playoffs and lock their spot.
And this is such a big shift for them, considering last split, they were heavy favorites to be even considered for top 2. They were 7-2 in the first half of the split, and then the second half was the complete opposite. And they wanted to make up for that failure, and this is where we come back to Trick. His introduction to the team, how well he's been working with Ignar, especially in yesterday's game, is what has turned the split around for the Schalke organization, and now they have locked that spot in playoffs.
And the word that we kept using in rehearsals was decisiveness when it comes to Schalke. They are very decisive about the plays that they call, especially with Trick and Ignar in particular. So look at how they get to the plays first and when they have numbers advantages.
Yeah, but I also remember you saying decisiveness is a double-edged sword for us. What is it specifically about that? That could be problematic.
Betty, you want this one?
Yeah, so one of the things is, while they often are willing to make decisions in the heat of the moment, it can be very beneficial when deciding whether to turn away from the Baron or to commit to it. But sometimes it also means that they don't always make the best, well-informed decisions when it comes to actually making those decisions.
Well, listen, Schalke are one of the teams that in my mind are a little bit understated. Maybe could be one of the dark horses for playoffs. We'll have to see. Let's turn our attention to the top of the table. The battle for Athens, the battle for the bye. It is bigger than ever. Fnatic and Splyce keep winning. They are facing each other next week. And along with G2 Esports, 2 of these 3 teams will be guaranteed an appearance in Athens. The real question is, which of Fnatic and Splyce are joining G2?
Well, right now, I think Splyce is looking like the team to do it. Their fundamentals are so much stronger than what we've seen from Fnatic. I feel like that overall, they are way more well-rounded as a team, and Humanoid has become this X-factor for me that can take Splyce out of dangerous situations.
And that's what it comes down to, X-factor and clutch moments. We simply just don't have the tape of this iteration of this Splyce roster that if you put them in a high-pressure situation, that they'll be able to capitalize on it. But with Humanoid consistently having these pop-off performances, I'm leaning more towards Splyce.
Oh my word, it's very, very exciting. We'll see if they can deliver. And you know what? As we are nearing the end of the 8 weeks and we're getting close to playoffs, I think it is time to deliver some spicy hot takes. So what I'm going to do is challenge Frosk and Vedius. I'm going to give you a hot take. We're going to debate them, okay? So the first one that I've got, if SK make it to playoffs, they will easily make it
What's up, bros?
Athens.
I heard you guys wanted some hard-hitting, some real analysis.
Whoa, hold on, what is this? What
Get
is
out of here, chuckleheads. We don't need you here.
It's Drake and Dirk, get off my stage,
bros.
I'm not
It's
sure.
our time.
Okay, so production is saying I have to ask the same. Okay, I have to ask the same question.
Ask us.
If SK make playoffs, they will easily make Athens.
What you don't seem to understand, and it's okay, you have a peanut brain. It's a real problem. Is that SK are the best team in the league. Now,
Yeah, it's not even a hot take, bro.
let's break it down for you, okay? Let me just put this out here. SK beat Vitality.
Right.
Vitality beat G2.
This doesn't work. This doesn't work.
SK can beat
Drake,
G2.
it's going way over his head. He just doesn't. Okay, quick. Do you understand? Have you ever heard of math?
I'm pretty well acquainted. Statistics are kind of a thing.
Yeah, but this isn't numbers. This isn't fake math. This is letters. Okay, this is the transitive property. Okay, let me break this down for you guys.
Show it to him.
If A is greater than B, and B is greater than C, right? Then C is greater than A. Wait.
No. Flip it on him. Flip it on him. You're almost there, bro.
Then A is greater than C. So therefore, SK are better than G2.
And that's concrete. That's science.
That's math.
That's science and math at the same time.
Boom.
You just got educated. Give us the next one.
Right. The next one for Drake and Durr. DOS was not the right choice for Misfits.
What are you talking about? Look, we know DOS, he's actually an insane player. Let me break this down for you guys. Look at this. Okay, you might see on the ladder. Okay, first of all, his name is DOS, the freaking boss, man.
Boss.
You can't fight with
Quickshot.
that. Second of all, the Shaq one, that's Caps. You think he's the best player? Look how many games. That's like 1,000,000 games right there. He took so many games. I could get Challenger if I played 1,200 games already. Like, it's just easy.
Dustin in
It's
300, he's like clearly at least like 7 ELO above like an MSI victory at this point.
Unbelievable. Why is this even... Okay, right,
brain
next
is so
one.
big.
Next one, right. Okay, this one I actually believe in, right? Mickey made the greatest Yasuo play of the split. This isn't even a hot take, this is a fact.
No, he actually played really well in that game.
Wait, what are you guys talking about? Like, literally any, like, gold plus Yasuo could do this. It's not that cool. It's literally like, look at this mechanic, not that fancy. It's just like 3 buttons at the same time, perfectly timed. It's called a Keyblade.
What are you talking
That's a different game. That's a different game.
No, it's not. You don't get to make up the terms. Quickshot, Yasuo mains do.
No human can press Q as fast as he did right there.
Literally,
no human can
easy.
do that.
I have 600,000 points. Bring up the replay. Show my solo queue plays.
We don't have
it's
another
way cooler.
replay.
It's way cooler. Run it down. Yeah, you see this? Look at this. This is absolute. Wait, this is not the right play. Guys, don't show this play. This is not the play I wanted you to show. No, don't show him this one. No.
Is this you?
Bro,
God,
bro, you suck.
You know Jarvan's OP. You can't hold me accountable to that. Winwall doesn't bot Cataclysm. Screw you, Quickie.
What? Wait,
You're
Drake,
old and outdated.
Drake, you
no,
left your chair.
No, you betrayed
Come
me,
back,
bro.
Drake. Get out of here. Quickshot, get out of here. Drake, come back. Come back.
And there we have it. Some hot takes with Drake and Durr. Back to serious business. Let's talk about some teams from around the world with Vedius and Frosk.
So yeah, we're gonna talk about some stuff that matters, I guess.
I prefer Flexius.
Yeah, same. Right, now across the globe, teams are fighting to represent the region at Worlds 2019, which takes place here in Europe between the 2nd of October and 10th of November. Therefore, we've been keeping a close eye on the international competition. And today, we wanted to look at some of the top teams in the LCS, LCK, and LPL.
Some of those inferior regions. Now let's start with our friends across the Atlantic, where Team Liquid finished in the regular season in first. Now the MSI finalists had 4 players on the All-Pro team. With a 14-4 game score, they are set to take the 4th title in a row. Now, they're not locked for Worlds just yet, but if they make it, this team probably NA's only hope.
Very likely. They look like it last split. We'll see if they can do it again. Now, next up, it's another powerhouse, but this one also from an international perspective. SKT has won 3 world titles, and this year they are looking to return to former glory. After their semi-finals exit at MSI, they had a terrible start to the summer split and were in risk of not even making playoffs. But you can never count out FLICKR, and over the last few weeks, this sleeping giant has awoken, climbing to the top of the LCK, assuming you ignore today's results. If they do make Worlds, SKT and their Demon King will be a team to fear yet again.
Yeah, I know, the unkillable Demon King. Now, finally, it's time for a new threat from the LPL, Fun plus Phoenix. Now, despite never making Worlds, this team is one of the favorites to lift the trophy in Paris. Currently at 11-1, FPX is the front runner for the LPL title, as reigning champions Invictus Gaming look like a shadow of their former selves. Now, the big star of this team, Doinby, famous for his bizarre builds. Others seem like Gimgoon up in the top lane. They've got a great jungle talent, and I'll even throw an LWX, the shotgun of the LPL, in there. This team ended 3rd in spring, and if they continue like this, I guarantee you we'll see them in the group stages here in Berlin.
Yeah, but can they really stack up against the likes of our EU powerhouses, Frosk?
Okay.
I mean,
Well, but hang on. You are talking about stacked, and welcome back to the area here. I want to talk about some of the other contestants, because IG, if they are a shadow of the form themselves, defending world champions from last year, their name is not on this board. So why are you more excited about these 3 teams instead of IG?
Because everyone knows IG, and yes, I do expect IG to continue to make a run towards the playoffs and to show up at Worlds, but right now our 3 frontrunners in LPL are the likes of RNG. You may know them as Uzi's team, the FPX. We just talked about Doinby, but I really want to focus in on top esports. Europe, you need to be aware, they have the best mid laner in the world, and his name is Knight. This kid is unstoppable. He's known as the golden left hand. Mechanically out of control. I've talked with a couple of the European pros that I know that they're paying attention watching his streams. You need to as well. This kid is disgustingly good.
hang on, wait, but if Caps can't beat Rookie, you're telling me that there's a level up from Rookie?
Well, it's fine because Caps is bringing perks and
Okay,
Yankos.
I'll be forever.
It's
2
okay, it's
million
okay.
better than
With a
one.
little
We're
luck, with a
fine.
little luck, our LCS brethren can eliminate the top Chinese.
Yes, we can rely on Team
competitors.
Liquid, we'll be
have to
fine.
find out when we get closer to Worlds. Thank you so much for that check-in. We'll be doing that a little bit more regularly as we get closer to our finals in Athens. Now, to put our experts as well as LEC fans on the spot, we're going to have some fun. We're going to put some builds on the screen. We've looked around the world. We've prepared some champion builds, and I'm going to ask not only Vedius and Frost, but everybody at home, which champion is this build going to match to? We'll put 4 options on the big screen.
Okay.
The item build will be down on the bottom. You two can see it over there.
Okay.
And the first question we're going to ask, here's the items. It is Proto Belt, Remnant of the Watchers, Moby Boots, and Ruby Crystal. And your 4 potential answers are as follows.
So, chat gets to put those names
Correct.
in, and they get to vote whose build this
Correct.
is. Now,
And are these real builds?
These are real builds.
From professional
That was
play.
played in real professional play.
This wasn't like Drake and Durr's solo queue
not
adventures.
Drake and Dur. It was not Drake and Dur.
well,
at
this
all.
one is quite obviously Gragas. This is Mickey's Gragas. It's the Protobout. What else would it be?
Mickey's Gragas.
I was going to go with Gragas as well. And I think in times of old, you could make a case for Morgana, but Morgana's now using the frozen hose because it's much more about the disengage. It's frozen
You mean the
hose.
Hextech
It's
GLP,
like a
right?
water hose. Every time.
Oh, I love it. I call it the water pistol, but I prefer the frozen hose. It's much better. Okay, so I'm going to hear from production what public are predicting, but the correct answer is 100 Thieves. It was Aframu's Bard. Why are you laughing at the reveal or the builds? We'll move on to the next one.
Why would
did
a
chat
bard
get it
build
right,
a proto
production?
belt?
That's what I want to find out.
Maybe it's
While I
something
find
that
out if
close
chat got
to
it
the
right,
queue.
the next build, Righteous Glory, Refillable Potion, Remnant of the Asper Bramble Vest, and Ninja Tabby. And your 4 options are
All right.
Blitz, Alistair, Volibear, and Rammus.
I think
I reckon
Righteous
the
Glory
Rammus
is
is a
Volibear.
trap. The Rammus has to be a trap, right?
Is Volibear? Yeah, he just wants to run at you. I mean, any of these champions could build that.
Yeah, I think you're on the money with Volibear. LCK has been playing a lot of Volibear. LPL play it as well, I think.
I think it has to be Rammus because we wouldn't go towards that one.
Okay, so we got Volibear, we got Frost. One thing, chat did not get the first one right. They also said Gragas. They were listening to you.
Okay.
I want to see whether or not they can do it. Let's do the reveal. Let's see who this is. The graphics over here. It is
Okay, yeah, got it. Nailed it.
Volibear.
Yeah, nice. Good job.
Hanwha Life Esports support. We'll find out whether or not chat got that right in just a moment. All right, next build. It is going to be Cloth Armor, Boots of Speed, Ardent Sensor. That's definitely not typed right.
Okay, so someone with
these,
shield.
as well as Skirmishes. Okay, so whose build is this? Nidalee, Ivan, Kale, or Lulu?
I mean,
I
was
love the
hoping-
stuff.
to be
I
honest,
love the silence.
My brain immediately went, that's a Soraka top build, mate.
you're on the money there.
So
mean-
when was the last time we even saw Kale in pro play?
I guess it has to be Nidalee.
It's got to be Ivan, right?
Or I think
you've gotta-
Nidalee or
you've-
Ivern.
you
No,
have
you
to
do
commit.
because it's
So-
both
It's
of them. It's
Ivern.
Ivern.
You
It's
have to commit
Ivan.
because both Vedius and Chat got the previous one right. It was Volibear. I saw your Rammus and I threw out the window.
Wait, no, because Volibear first.
Now, Froskurinn, which champion is this? And you know,
It's Ivern because it's the 2 support
Ivern?
items. If it was just Ardent Sensor, you could make
I'm
a case
actually
of
going
2
Nidalee. It's Nidalee. It's
Okay,
Nidalee.
Ivan, Nidalee. We're going to wait for the reveal, and the reveal is
Nidalee.
Dun, 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 Nidalee. So, by the way, Vedius definitely wins this game.
Yeah.
Which
I hate
this
means
game.
he has no idea how to build champions.
What?
Did Chat get that one right? We will find out in a moment or two.
You know, there's a really
can you
good
say
game.
again? Chat got it right. They got it right. So there we go. I'm saying they got it
you
right.
suck at this game.
No, okay, there's a really good game where SOFM, a jungler in China, built a Fiend's Unholy Grail on Zac.
Oh,
Think about
wow.
that.
Okay. We'll have to debate that later. Let's see what our pros will be building tonight here in the LEC. We got 5 more games to round out week number 8. And I'm going to throw straight to Vedius because he won the build game. Which game are you looking at tonight?
It's the third one, Quickshot. This one was really difficult for me to predict this morning. Origin versus XL. Based on both teams' performances, from the outlooker, it feels like that this game could go either way. But I do feel like Origin's fundamentals should just be stronger than that of XL's. So I have a little bit more faith in them today. But trust me, it's not that much more.
You were real confident yesterday with that Origin over Splyce prediction.
I said it was a gamble. I'm down a lot of points, Frosk. I need to take him.
If I can't trust his read on Origin, Froskurinn, who will win this game?
Origin.
There we go. We'll find out because in the race for Superior Analyst, I have officially hit rock bottom. Right next to me is Vedius.
Yes,
because
right
the two
here.
of us are bringing up the rear. Stat Spot is in the lead. Also fan vote. And by the way, not only did the fans get more correct predictions in our Who's Build than Froskurinn, I'm checking. They're tied with points. I was really hoping they were ahead. Let's take a look at this. Where are the differences? So I'm the only one going for Rogue. I'm believing in
You
the
go in
playoff
XL.
story.
You believe in them along with StatSpot.
Are
It
you
is
actually
because
just intentionally feeding? That's a reportable offense.
I do not believe Origin will make playoffs, and I've pivoted my predictions to get XL in there.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, so there we go. Over the past weeks, the mid lane has been defined by two champions, Azir and Corki. This madness has to stop. I'm going to ask Frost to tell us how.
Yeah, and to do that, goodbye.
Okay.
Yep, move it along, guys. It's okay. Okay. So real quick, team, this discussion is going to build on a previous piece of content called Level Up Lane Priority. Thank you, Vedius. If you want more information on a deeper dive into the specifics of lane priority as a concept, please go and check it out. It's on our YouTube page, and it's absolutely mint. Now, Corki and Azir are the greatest, most fun, most compelling champions ever. And this is the only time anyone will ever say that. But let's examine why this boring duo are dominating drafts. They have safe laning, they have great scaling for late game, and they fit a majority of comps, which makes them super blind pickable. Essentially, they're a low-risk early game for a high-reward late game that ultimately want to blue buff and chill in that mid lane. But pro play is all about who has priority, and Corki and Azir get that priority pretty effortlessly. Azir through his Sand Soldier enhanced push, and Corki through his range and poke and package mobility. It's total easy mode for them. So what do teams do? Ban them. Seriously, just ban the champions. Stop. Okay, I'm joking. Enter the assassins. From 0-10 to solo queue, 0-10 and solo queue to FLICKR, what was that? I believe in assassins for presidents because they can fix this. Assassins come equipped with superior skirmish potential, kill threat, side lane scaling. Hell, some of them even come with their own CC, like Qiyana. I think the only thing that champion doesn't have is like cup holders. Like, what is this? It's fine. And that's just how they gain priority. The good old touch this wave and I will mess you up. You'll see pro teams double down on that threat by pairing assassins with ganking junglers that bring the CC. These are champions like the Jarvans, the Sejuanis, the Elises, the Gragas. It's the I hold them, you punch. Because assassins don't need help murdering fools. You just need help to lock them down. So if you're like me and you're tired of Corki every single game, get the assassin in there. Make sure you give him the early ganks. Azir and Corki, they can't match your skirmish early. Get the team and fight those cowards. And then outscale them on a side lane. Because if you ever think about making a cross-map play against an assassin, Qiyana will dab on your body. Akali will flip on your dreams. And you will change up the monotony of seeing mid laners push waves back and forth all day long. This has been a public service announcement. But before we get into our first matchup, let's actually get an update on Medic and his playoffs checkup.
Thank you very much, Frosk. Now, with all of our teams having only 3 games left to play, the race for those final 2 playoff spots is heating up more than ever before. Yesterday, we saw Schalke lock in the 4th of our playoff teams as they defeated Misfits, and many people actually thought it would be quite an easy road for Vitality and Origin to claim those final 2 spots in the knockout stages. For Vitality, it is actually quite simple. All they need to do to lock in a playoff spot is win today. Due to their recent run of very good form, even if a team ties them on win-loss, no one's able to match them in terms of wins gained in the second half of the split, meaning that they would break an eventual tie and take the top spot. Let's have a look at, though, how Origin can lock in their final playoff spot. What they'll be hoping is that Splyce and Schalke do them a little bit of a favor today. They play against SK and Rogue, and if SK and Rogue lose and Origin win, they then have a 2-game buffer coming into Week 9. Origin play up against SK and Rogue in Week 9, so all they need to do is take 1 win and they'd lock in their own playoff spot. Finally, the race for second and a guaranteed spot in Athens is still very much up for grabs. With Splyce and Fnatic currently tied in win-loss in second place, every single game counts for these 2 teams. They meet up against each other on day 1 of next week, and that could very much be the decider match in our battle for the bye. Back to you, Quickshot.
Thank you very much, Medic. And as we've already mentioned a few times, G2 are so close to securing that bye position as well. Let's move on to Splyce versus SK. 2 teams coming off wins from yesterday. For Splyce, the renaissance continues. Their eyes are set on that spot in Athens. They are facing Fnatic next week, and they want to come into that game being undefeated this week and wanting that man in the mid lane, Humanoid, to keep popping off.
And it's about the X factor. That's the word that we're consistently going to be using with Humanoid and Splyce, because that was the only thing that they were missing. They just needed that one final push to break through the ceiling that feels like it's kept Splyce down. It's just a gatekeeper for playoffs all these years.
And I feel like when it comes to Splyce, something we said a lot about them in the past was how that they had a lot of good fundamentals, but to the point at which they were almost too one-dimensional, because their early games looked good, their mid-game was a problem, and then you'd have to rely on Kobe in the late game. They have shifted so far away from that narrative because of how much more consistent this entire team is. You can rely on Xerxes to be an early game playmaker and carry. You can see how much more Vizicachi is in terms of his consistency in a side lane, and now you have this massive pop-off player in the form of Humanoid that can do it on both mages and assassins.
One of the things that makes me very excited is that earlier in Ready Check, Vedius, you used the word X factor. It's something that Splyce have lacked. They've been a consistently good team for a long time. We call them the gatekeepers of the league for many, many months. And now they seem to be shirking off that brand. Frosk, is this the team that you think could build and maybe improve upon the 2016 success from Splyce that went to Worlds?
If we talked about that Schalke's kind of the dark horse for playoffs, I think Splyce is the dark horse for Worlds in terms of representing Europe. I think that they're shedding their skin, if you will, and are making a really good front for, we've got the complete package. We can play multiple styles. We have incredibly clean fundamentals, and now we have the X Factor pop-off moments between Xerxes and Humanoid.
Well, let's talk about their opponents today, because after a big upset win versus Vitality, SK Gaming are technically back in the playoffs race. The arrival of Genax was what this team needed, maybe a little too late, but with this ERL talent and EU Masters competitor, they are now 2-1 in win and loss.
I feel like he's offered a huge amount of value to this team in terms of what he's been bringing, and a large part of that is consistency. We talk a lot about consistency in our league, and it was something that Perion unfortunately lacked. He was often getting caught out, often being a target for a lot of the opposition, but Genax doesn't seem to have those same problems. He's also been able to turn around a lot of dangerous situations into his team's favor. So for a young player coming from the ERLs to have this kind of a performance over his last 2 weeks, this could be the boost that SK need in order to make that surprise run for playoffs.
I definitely think it's an upgrade for them into that mid lane, and they are starting to see the fruits of that labor. The only issue and the concerns that I have is that every time we talk to SK Gaming, it's still down. It still seems that they've counted themselves out and they're willing to take the defeat when, yes, it's a very hard climb back into playoffs, but the possibility is technically still there for SK.
Now the question is, can they do it in this matchup? Can this SK, even though they won a couple of games out of the last 3, challenge Splyce, and how do they do it?
I feel like that we always turn our attention to the likes of Selfmade. Last week, we got to see him play as Evelyn, where he had a pretty pop-off performance, pairing up with Dreams in order to find a pretty surprising comeback win against the likes of Misfits. I feel like if he's able to get his hands on the likes of Rek'Sai and can continue to have these kind of early game performances, then there is a realistic world in which SK can find a surprising win, but it's not likely against the powerhouses of Splyce.
Okay, I want to continue talking about this in just a moment, but before that, despite that win yesterday, SK, they have struggled with issues behind the scenes. Here's what the team has had to say in EU Rising.
SK continuing the push, and maybe they dive too deep. Dreams is down, but Mulai on his way, Selfmade's dead! Then back up to Skull! I cannot believe it! Crownshot's down, and the TP comes in, and Rogue stole the game away from SK!
They just haven't found their form yet. Honestly, they just don't know how to play the game.
We started losing a lot of games, we just can't find a way to improve, and people are just getting more tilted and tilted.
Will it all be in vain?
After some period, when you spend some time in the team you just met, people usually become friends.
We fight pretty often, like with coaches, with players.
Let our hearts beat as one, while the raindrops turn to tears, and hope has changed to fear.
Kiray's running for his life, needs to find something. Will find a stun. Deathmark comes out, throws out the cloak. Kiray finally goes down, but now Dreams is running for his life.
Our dreams will disappear. Can you see the end is near?
When I came in summer to play for SK. It was really unusual to notice the way the environment worked in the team, personally.
If you're having so many issues and you still don't fix them and you still get losses after losses and after losses, then probably like there's something really wrong.
For sure we need somebody that can stick us all together and make us on the same page, but so far I don't think it will happen.
Quickness, the flash forward, gonna lock up two. Selfmade now taking quickness back. They're trying to disrupt the play. Instantly, Yasuo into the midst of the team now backing up. The wind wall's there. It's gonna make it a lot harder to play this one out. TP coming in from behind. Bubba has interrupted the TP. Dream now on the retreat. Period has been taken out, and this is going from bad to worse for SK Gaming. Sakurai with a massive ult, a big pop on, but there's no follow-up here. The gold card will connect. Selfmade on the retreat. SK are getting torn apart. They bit off more than they could chew, and in the fight that they picked, they died.
Okay, we are the worst, but the better teams than us have like 1 or 2 more wins. So it's for sure not impossible to make playoffs, but it will be really hard. And if we don't improve our practice, it will go only worse.
In competitions, not every team can be a winner. Not every story can have a happy ending. And for SK Gaming, making their rebirth into League of Legends in Spring Split, making it into playoffs in their first split back, to fall from grace, go on an 8-game losing streak, and now be within touching distance of playoffs. It feels so close, but it's still so far. It's a difficult situation to be in.
It was a really powerful video for me because it felt like we really got to see the difficult sides of being in this kind of competition, right? Because more often than not, we're always highlighting the success, the run back, how close teams are to be able to succeed. Yet here, we had to see SK feeling like they've already given up, that there is no opportunity left, that they have no chances.
Even after a win yesterday, it still doesn't feel like celebratory.
And there is a case where kind of in the volatility of off-season and a lot of roster shuffles, even if you don't make playoffs, some of these players can find themselves in a position where they're performing to play again.
Yeah.
In the racing world, it's called racing for pinks. If you win, you lose your car. Like, these guys have to put up a performance because other teams might look at them. Let's say this SK roster doesn't stay together, it gets picked apart perhaps. You want to be that performing player to have a career that lasts longer than this split.
And the impressive thing is they've actually won their last 2 games. And they've been pretty solid wins as well in the way in which they've been doing it. So I feel like that even though confidence and mentality is low in the team, perhaps they're playing with nothing to lose now, and they're playing without any pressure.
Take a look at this. They are tied in win-loss with Rogue. 1 win behind Origin. Origin's game later today is going to be hugely impactful for both Rogue and SK. And SK, they've got a tough task ahead of them, because not only is their mentality boom, shall we say, they're coming up against a Splyce squad that has maybe never had this much faith, belief, support from not only the other teams and players, but from fans as well. This Splyce, many people are pegging to be in the finals alongside G2 if they were to happen right now.
We had a discussion on Euphoria, great guests, Xerxes and Norskaren, and constantly they were talking about the confidence, the mental atmosphere into the team, and that it was Xerxes who stood up and kind of gave the locker room motivational speech to the team and get them going. We hear behind scenes that these guys are very talented, but they've had some stage fright issues. So it feels like everything's finally coming together, that it's the complete opposite in terms of mental power, that there's now confidence and wind beneath Splyce's sails, and that's why they're taking off.
Oh man, and the exact opposite is true for SK Game. We're going to find out who comes out on top today. Let's kick off today's action and hit the rift.
Thank you very much, Quickshot. I'm Medic, joined by Endo, and we are here for day 2, week 8. Final 3 games of the split. It's going to be, for each of the teams, obviously. We're not only playing 3 games today. It's going to be intense. It's going to be amazing, Endo. I'm pretty flipping hyped right now, I'm going to be honest.
I mean, you sound really hyped, Medic.
I'm on it. I've had a Red Bull. I prepared myself for the day. We'll see if SK and Splyce are just as well prepared as I am.
Yeah, sellout, by the way. SK, of course, finally off of that losing streak. So they got 2 wins very recently, picking that up over Team Vitality most recently. And it's been really nice to see Selfmade feel so much more confident in the jungle on picks like the Evelynn, like the Rek'Sai. He's really stepped back into that Spring Split form.
He had such a performance yesterday against Vitality. Basically won the game for his team right at the end by blocking Jackjoel, who was trying to engage on the Rakan. We'll see where they go today. At the moment, SK on the blue side have banned out Azir, thank goodness, and Kiana, and Aatrox and Yuumi have been removed by Splyce.
Yeah, specifically going to be looking at the Akali there that does get banned away